A 10% owner of it, not big time on that. But I was the one that designed, I was the one that merchandised, that marketed, that sold, that shipped. It did everything of that. And the idea is at that time, keep in mind then, okay, the fax machine had just barely been invented. No internet. Okay, totally different type. Okay, so everything was really the print. All right. So the old saying, if you look like you're $1 million, you know, you gotta look like $1 million. Then if you look rich, they think you're rich. This business is all about perception, okay, and hype. I mean, basically, when you design something that you want to make sure that somebody thinks in their mind, I want it. Do they need it? Not necessarily. It's something they want. I mean, I'm not familiar with, let's say, your store, for instance. But if somebody walked into your store, I mean, what would keep them from walking just out? Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Right. Something about that store when they walk in is going to have to interest them to keep them in.
Right.
And that's an important part of it. Same thing when you're looking at designing a website. When somebody clicks on a website, what's going to keep them there? I mean, if something about that, let's say there's too much flash and it's too busy, they're going to say, I don't want to do this, I want to get out of that. So that's a whole different thing. So when I did my own company, I was kind of naive then because I wanted to. The guy that I was involved with at the time, his favorite movie was Casablanca. You know, Humphrey Bogart, classic movie on that. I mean, he was the epitome of cool. Okay, and so I said, let's name the company Casablanca Leathers. So I took the logo and I took everything on that. I didn't think about at that time because we didn't have issues about copyright so much and the other things on there. And soon after that, I developed Casablanca Leathers. There was a company that came out that almost did the same thing I did. It was called Casablanca Records. Remember that? Kiss was signed up with them and some other groups like that. That was on their first label up. The guy's name was Neil Bogart. And we had a little bit of an issue there because Casablanca Leathers, Casablanca Records. So I said to him at that time, okay, look, you take the record industry and we'll take the apparel industry. Now at that time, nobody marketed records with apparel. There was no T-shirts or things like that you did with. Today, it's almost impossible. If you have a group, you talk about all the money that's involved in merchandising and marketing and things like that. So my goal was at that time is how do we make Casablanca a branded name? Okay. Now we did a show. Okay. We did Magic in 1976. And in order to do Magic, I had to make sure that the magazine that I put together had you know my styles in there and something about us. So we did a one-pager. I went to a restaurant in Los Angeles. Where are you all from? LA. Atlanta. Okay. In Los Angeles, there was. Are you familiar with Moroccan food? Remember that? There was a restaurant called Marrakesh. Ironically, Marrakesh is another city in, next to, not far from Casablanca, because it's a city, Morocco. And it had a Moroccan restaurant theme. But what it did have is it had everything that I needed as a background for my cover page. And we kind of like snuck in during the morning. I had a cousin of mine that was about 15 years old, but a lot older. I took my father's Smith & Wesson snub nose, gave it to her, of course. And we put everybody, what we did is I had custom-made tuxedos made just like Humphrey Bogart did, except my partner was Korean, and there was no way I could make him look cool. And I couldn't figure out how to do this because the idea was to wear leather garments, long leather jackets over the tuxedos. Anyways, we did a picture called Casablanca Leather. We dressed him up in a black hat, fedora, with a black leather jacket, and a cigarette. So we had this whole thing set up, anyways, bottom line is we didn't have a lot of money in the beginning to do this. We put it in the magazine. It was a one-pager thing, and people already knew us because we've done shows before. And we made ourselves look bigger than anybody else could be. And so people came to the booth. Lenny Weinglass from Merry-Go-Round came in and wrote that particular show $750,000. He dropped paper on that. I literally closed the door for 2 hours, and as I showed him the line, the collection, and he did that. The bottom line is that I wanted to brand the name. And then Casablanca's in that particular show, that particular year, we shipped $3 million. This is 1976. That is a lot of money then.
That's a whole lot.
But it's a lot of money now. It's a whole lot of money then. But the idea was the branding. Look, on this particular thing, I happen to know the publisher of this magazine, Fashion Manuscript, and I wanted to make sure that Francis was on the cover this time because it's a nonprofit organization, and that it was distributed at the show. So fortunately, that's where I took them from downstairs. So I was going to give them to everybody in here to help, but at least now you can read the article on, I think it's on page 60. I happen to be on the board, so my picture's in there too. It's called Teaching the Business of Fashion. Pretty good article. If you read that, you'll get a pretty good understanding what it is. Microsoft, my company is Microsoft Gold certified. So we did something with Microsoft Truck of America. And we did a kind of like a seminar series in Los Angeles. Microsoft understood what we were doing because I have a certification course that teaches the apparel industry. The apparel industry itself is a language, okay? And there's certain terms you have to understand. And when you email, and you're going to email me, I will send you some PowerPoints and things that you'll be able to understand on that, especially if you want to manufacture. But you're talking about branding. Today, people still come up to me and say, what's the secret to branding? Now, take this, okay? I have a software company called AIMS, Apparel Information Management System. The software actually is a software that runs the business side of the industry. Takes the orders, keeps track of customers, does the invoicing, keeps track of inventory, kind of thing if you're a small manufacturer you would have to use to run. Okay. I've always geared to small to medium-sized companies, but fortunately within the last 10 years, the companies that have made that started using our system became very big. Heard of True Religion? Heard of Juicy Couture? CNC California? Yep. Trina Turk?